Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to this series of GitLab Pipeline. In today's episode, we will look at a detailed component of a job, which is like a stage in a GitLab job. So let's dive in quickly and see how things pan out. So here, I'm just going to get in here and just press an enter, and I'm going to get into the code. So here is the code we have up until now. So you can see we just got this basic one. We got a stage here where we're talking about variables, these two really, and then these two stages that we use to talk about artifacts. So let's start this one where we just simply see one stage of a GitLab job. So today I'm just going to define that stage and then give it a name like so let's say complete pipeline. So I'll just say complete really. I'm just going to take this complete and create a stage for it. So let's push these ones down, and I'm going to go here and just start and say what's the name of this one. This is going to be like that. So I like to do it this way. So and then the stage here is going to be complete, obviously type to be indented. So the first thing you see on a GitLab job is the apart from the job name here is the stage. This stage actually, as I said previously, correspond with whatever that's here. It has to actually match for them to be picked up anyway. So for it to be the implementation of that. So the next thing we see is that if you want, as we've actually said as well, you can have local variables. So here, if you declare local variables, you can declare it that way. You can just add as many as you want, really, to be honest. So let's say you want to add more, maybe let's say koi ID as we did. You can just do that and then put an ID here, like some things. And you can have as many as you want, really. Oh, that's the second thing you see. The next thing you see as well is you can define an artifact. But for me, I like to define something else before. Okay, well, let's talk about artifacts here, really. So the artifacts is like, as we saw previously, is the stage that actually collects any of the build outputs that you have. Well, I've just declared this thing now here. There's no path. You can kind of just put the path straight away once you've got anything to collect. But for now, just leave it as an act, as an act, just without a path. Actually, let's put a path there because I don't want to have it as incomplete. So the path here targets, just like we saw before here. You can see path. It just gives you the path where you can kind of keep whatever the job build gives you, where you can collect those things. So that's that. Then the next thing we see on a typical GitLab pipeline would be image. And this is one of the things that I haven't actually talked about since we started. Well, you can have image here locally, and then this image is something that actually might confuse a lot of people, really. So I'm just going to delete this auto-generated thing for now. So this image is something that behaves like variables as well. Let's start with that. You can have a global image that will govern this whole job. You can declare it here. So let's say, for instance, on this job now, you want to build the entire job that you're going to build with something like Maven image. So let's say, and to do that, really, I encourage you to always go and find the latest image of anything you want to do. So let's say Maven image for maybe, let's say, for Java 21, something like that. You can go to the official website and just or like official documents and just grab whatever it is you want to use. So in this case, I'm just going to pick something at random. So here I will, as you can see, this is Maven, and I will just go and pick probably just, let's click on one. For now, we haven't started talking about optimization, but let's just take one. So I'll just inspect this, and I'll inspect so I can copy that tag. So I'll just copy this tag. So if I want to build this with Maven, I can just say Maven, the image name, and then the tag of that image. So this image here is the Docker image that the entire job, all of these jobs like all any jobs here that you have would actually just run on when you declare it here globally. But also GitLab gives you option as well to like override this, because when you specify it here, all of them would default to that. Now there's other thing as well, apart from overriding it here. I'll just come to this in a minute. But if you have you know, if you don't, because you notice that before now we haven't used any image anywhere. Well, GitLab automatically gives you this. So when you haven't defined any image, GitLab would provision one for you, and the default image is called as Ruby image. So let's go to one of the pipelines we've been running before today and just see how GitLab does that. So let's pick a job at random. If we go here now and just go to the beginning of this, you see that GitLab will just go and pull Ruby as of today. It's Ruby version 3.1. It will spin it up and run your job within. So Ruby is GitLab baseline image. So whenever you do this now, when you declare global image, you have overridden the Ruby, and all of the jobs here will then now run with Maven. So let's say we're now running, everything else will run on Maven, but in this specific job, you've got something else in mind. Let's say on this one, you want to do maybe do something else. Let's say this is going to be something like, let's say you want to use Node to run this job. So for now, I'll just do Node latest, but it's always important to actually go and confirm those image, because it'll be pulled from here. So let's say Node.js image, press and enter. It will take you to the official Docker thing where you can find the one you can use. So here, let's try Alpine. We'll talk about Alpine later, but for now, just all we need is really a tag. So here, this is going to be Node. If you see the way it's going to be used, this Node, and the tag would be this. So let's just minimize this for a minute and just put this here. Right, so if you do this now, only this job here, only this specific job will run with on a Node.js image. The rest will continue to run with Maven. So this is just an example that we're playing with anyway. Now after that image, the next thing you see is you do know that we do talk about scripts. But before script, there is something else that comes with it. If you need to, it's not a must that you would always have this thing on. For instance, here you have something called before script. While it's still a script, you still need to write things the way we do in the previous in the script itself, but this is just like before script. So any precondition of task or things you want to execute before the actual script, please put it here. Like you want to connect, do something, process on data or whatever. So here, once you finish with that, you can have any number of these really as much as you want. So let's say this is going to run, say, let's say running before script, like that. So I'm just going to before script stage. So you can have this multiple times, but just to keep it sane, we just have 2 only. So that's that. The next one here is going to be script itself. So we just have script. On the script, oh sorry, I say script, press and enter. That auto completion is making a mess of the whole thing here. So here is the script. Right, so if I tab this again, so this script is the main thing that will run. This is where your main job is supposed to be. Now let me mention quickly that you may or may not have any of all these things. You can just list out what you need. What is mandatory, as we said at the beginning, was just stage and probably just the script. These are just the only mandatory thing that you should really have on a job. So just like you have a script as well, or before script, you also have after script as well, in case you want to make use of that as well. So here it is. If there are any things you want to run on after script stage, this is where you need to mention that as well. So here you can have 2 stages here just running that. So this will run the main job, this would do the precondition, this is going to do the post condition, and once they are through, you move on. What's the next thing you need to have on a specific or on a GitLab job? The next thing you can have is what we call as when. So this when, it's what you have when, you know, when you want, or how kind of how you want to run the job really. So this job can be run as manual. You can have this job as well again as so in fact, let's put it as manual. If you put it as manual, this job, when you check in this code, would wait for you to manually trigger that. So you can go here and just see what other things you can have. So let's say GitLab stage, GitLab when, GitLab pipeline when, values. Press and enter. GitLab will tell you the things that you can fill up there if you don't have those things. I mean, some of the things that you can take. So let's go get in here and let's go to when you have, obviously we said when on the job. So let's press and enter. So I'm just also showing you how you can. So let's click on this when and see how this can be used. So here are other things you can have. You can have when on success, when on failure, when never. This is going, these are just their definitions. I don't need to be reading them out for you. So when never, do not run the job regardless of the status. So it will never run. Always run manual. So I think the default here is on success, which is when it passes. This always will always run. For instance, this is the manual, the one I mentioned. If you don't define this at all, it will just default to on success, as you can see here. So let's do this one that says always. Okay, actually, let's leave it with manual for the time being. Later we can just go with always. So what I like to do is to hover on this. Because of my plugin, it will tell me this here. I wanted to show you guys previously, but I wanted to show you from their documentation first of all. So here it says on success, on failure, always, never, like that. But sometimes what I found is that this plugin is usually not up to date as well. So I will just go online on their documentation. So that's that. The next thing you have here is going to be something we call as only. So the only is something that we use to specify the branches where these jobs will run. So okay, I'm going to tab as always, but this you can list out a number of branches that you want this to run. So our previous branch was prod. Whatever it is you call your branches, you can list out the only branches that would run. Okay, so if you hover again on this, it will just give you a little bit of definition to this only, but that's what only is doing. If you don't specify that, it just defaults to everything. So so the next one is a bit weird one really. It's called tags. So tags is something that confuses a lot of people. It is just simply what, if you hover on it for a start, it just says use the selected runner from the list of available runners. So by default, if you don't specify this tag at all on your job, it will just pick up any runner. Now I know I haven't introduced you guys to the concept of runner, but we just need to talk about it briefly. So if we go here and just go to here, I am going to show you a runner. A runner can be likened to just an EC2 machine that would actually execute this job that we're building. So if you see that each time before the GitLab runs, it just says it says running with GitLab runner, and it tells you the version. So this runner is just a machine, kind of. It can be a Docker instance or something. Just don't worry about it at the minute. So, but it's just a machine that is located somewhere in the cloud. You can actually create your own. Maybe on this series, we can just create one and just show you how to. But runner is a machine that would actually execute this job for you. So how do you see that? You've got to actually have an admin permission to actually be able to come and see this. But when you come to this settings, so let's go and find them. Just go to, I'm going to go through settings and see where I can find that, but it is usually around here. But GitLab keep moving these things around. I'm just going to go and find it. So if I go to these settings and just come down to CI/CD here, within the CI/CD, we have actually just been discussing these variables. So the next one we want to see now is these runners. Runners are processes that pick up and execute the CI/CD job for GitLab. Essentially, that's what it is. Kind of a machine, as we said. So register as many as you want, but by default, also GitLab gives you some so that a newbie or new beginners can get started. You see that the first time we created an account, we didn't mention any runner, and then we were cracking on running our jobs. But hey, there are two ways here now. This is the project runners, the one you create by yourself. We'll be seeing how to do that later. But then these ones are the one that is given to you by GitLab by default. So, so you can actually just get started. So these this one says available instance runners is 102. So you need to register your custom one. So say you're building an application that has specific requirements. So let's say something like Swift. You're developing something for iOS Swift, or probably like Android or whatever, anything that has custom or some custom security requirements. You've got to be able to like come and create yours. But here are the available ones. So this tag is, like specifying each of these runner, or picking a specific one. Well, you can see here there are a lot number of them here. If you don't mention them, and you can see there, so this is paginated, so to page 6 and going on. You can also disable these things, the one that they've given to you. But if you don't mention them, GitLab would pick up one automatically. So the tag name that we use is just this one's in blue here. You can see. So if you pick this one, and it will just target this one, but this one is shut down. So if you pick this one, it would target any of these ones that are up and running. So like that. So you can register yours and give it some tags. Say for instance, you register something that has a probably, let's say, some security requirement, or like you register a node, because in this job here we are going through a node project, because this image is actually saying node. So let's say in that case you can specify when this job starts, it would wait for any of this runner to be available, and it is only when that job can be picked up. Otherwise, it would wait there forever until it's available. So that's what runner is. It's kind of a machine that runs the job for you. Okay, so this is it. So I'm just going to come out from this place, and then we can continue to discuss. What you also see here is that when it's this on green, it means the runner is available. I think it's a no-brainer. And then you can also have red when the runner is paused. You can pause yours, and also these ones can be paused. But I think so that's that. But I think, the stay is that you don't really want to stress yourself specifying specific tag. Well, that's that. The next one I want to talk about is allow failure. This allow failure one is just a Boolean thing, true or false, really. So if you hover here, it tells you that. So this setting option to true would allow the job to fail while still letting the pipeline to pass. So it will allow the job to fail anyway. So here you can say true or false. Well, this is usually set to false. Okay, so these are just the main thing. There is one more one that I might want to talk about. This one is just environment. So under environment, it is where you sort of give the specific details about the environment you're doing things, like let's say it's a production environment. Within that production environment, you can specify the URL and things like that. So it's up to you if you want to use that. There's no environment at the minute, so I'll just probably comment this out. But these are just the major ones within a specific GitLab job. So this is job. This job is job complete. So let's call it, let's say complete. Let's say complete job. And you can give it more names anyway, but you can leave it this way. So here is the job name. This is the stage again. This is local variables. This is artifact, the way to collect these artifacts. In this case here, we're not actually spitting out artifacts. Actually, I think we should, let's take a like a point that we'll just go and create the artifact so that this doesn't actually crash out. So let's do that, and then let's take this one, put it here. So this would actually create the artifact. This will gather the artifacts, and then you can, and any of these can be in any order. It doesn't really matter where they are. This is going to run on manual. So we are going to have to go and manually trigger this job. This is going to run only on main or prod branch, and then the tag is the runner that it will run with. So let's check in this job and see how things are going. So let's clear this. Let's do git add, and then let's do git status and see how things are going. So this is going to be git commit, and then we'll do git push origin main. Now it's going to be main because we're working inside of main. So now that this is pushed up now, I am going to go here and see how these things will start. Obviously, as we said again, it wouldn't start automatically. We would have to like manually trigger this. So you can see everything is grayed off. So it says it's blocked. If you go here now, we would have to actually start this job because this stage here was set to manual. So let's click this. You can actually click on it. It says, did you see manual? And then this is when you can now start. And it's saying, okay, hey, the tag. So it's picking up few things about this pipeline already. The tag that it can only run on is this GitLab-org-docker. That's where it can only run on. And this is the stage name, the complete. So if you're happy with everything, you can just run the job here. Or also, if you don't want to do that like that, you can also just come here, click on it, and just run it from here. But now it started, we can now, like, let's take it easy and see how things are going. Okay, the execution is complete now. So if you have a look here, you can see the first time it's starting off, it just picks up GitLab runner, which means it would have found the GitLab runner that we specified. Well, that's that. So, and then if you, let's actually just bring this up so we can compare things. So, and then the first time it's just this stage complete. It defines some local variables, and then it collects artifacts. It's set up how to collect the artifacts. The image that this needs is node image. Well, before that, there is a global image declared, which is Maven. Let's see how these things happen. So let's go here. For this specific job, you can see that it jumped off. It's sort of like ignore the Maven global image, and it's using node 23 -alpine.2.13 to actually just run the job as we specified. So the local ones always override the global ones. So you can see that here. Well, before script, let's see how things actually just fared on that one. So before script, so it will just do its things and register some runners and do its things. So here, it will start up the Docker, and you can see the node here again, and it will just get it started. Once it's ready, it will just run before script, which is before script to run these things here. So running before scripts here. And then this one is just running script stage. On this one, you just make a directory. It will just take this and put it into this file, and then it will run after the script. Whatever it is you put in there would run. So these two are just those things. And once this is finished, it would begin to collect the artifacts. So in this case, it found two matching artifacts. It will just pick it up. So let's get back in here. So this is when this artifact will begin to work. And it will just run only when it's the main branch. If we go and try this when it's not a main branch, it wouldn't work. So at this point in time, let's get back into the project. So let's go to pipeline, and then let's see what this pipeline would be. So you can see this is running on the main. So let's get back in here. Let's get back into this, and let's see again. So that's what will happen. And then let's pull up this one again. So this one is this tag. So if he finds this tag, well, it would have found it. If he didn't find it, it wouldn't run. So here it says allow failure to run. It says false. Well, the second job here, I suppose, will fail because again we're creating the same thing that we created here. But that's not the point. As you can see, that when we went back here, we saw that it was a failure anyway. But that's not the stage that we were looking to see. So that's that, guys. Thank you, and do shoot me some questions if you have any. Thank you.